Salvation of the world depends on me. 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 Salvation of the world depends on you. Who can forgive? Such is your function here. Salvation of the world depends on you. Who can forgive? Such is your function here. Salvation of the world depends on me. 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 Hey. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. I'm Willie from the Ozarks, and we're studying A Course in Miracles, Lesson 186 today, here on Wednesday, July the 5th of 2023. So let's read our lesson. I am so glad that you've come to join me. You might see a bunch of bees flying by. I'm out sitting close to my beehive, right in front of it. Salvation of the world depends on me. Here is the statement that will one day take all arrogance away from every mind. Wow, you'd think it'd make you arrogant from the world's perspective, but he says it'll take arrogance away. Here is the statement that will one day take all arrogance away from every mind. Salvation of the world depends on me. Here is the thought of true humility, which holds no function as your own, but that which has been given you. It offers your acceptance of a part assigned to you without insisting on another role. It does not judge your proper role. It but acknowledges the will of God is done on earth as well as heaven. It unites all wills on earth and heaven's plan to save the world, restoring it to heaven's peace. Let us not fight our function. We did not establish it. It is not our idea. The means are given us by which it will be perfectly accomplished. All that we are asked to do is to accept our part in genuine humility, and not deny with self-deceiving arrogance that we are worthy. What is given us to do, we have the strength to do. Our minds are suited perfectly to take the part assigned to us by one who knows us well. Today's idea may seem quite sobering until you see its meaning. All it says is that your Father still remembers you and offers you the perfect trust He holds in you who are His Son. It does not ask that you be different in any way from what you are. What could humility request but this? And what could arrogance deny but this? Today we will not shrink from our assignment on the specious grounds that modesty is outraged. And specious means superficially plausible, but actually wrong. So let's read that sentence again. Today we will not shrink from our assignment on the specious grounds that modesty is outraged. It is pride that would deny the call of God Himself. All false humility we lay aside today that we may listen to God's voice reveal to us what He would have us do. We do not doubt our adequacy for the function He will offer us. We will be certain only that He knows our strength, our wisdom, and our holiness. And if He deems us worthy, so we are. It is but arrogance that judges otherwise. There is one way and only one to be released from the imprisonment your plan to prove the false is true has brought to you. Accept the plan you did not make instead. Judge not your value to it. If God's voice assures you that salvation needs your part and that the whole depends on you, be sure that it is so. The arrogant must cling to words, afraid to go beyond them to experience which might affront their stance. Yet are the humble free to hear the voice which tells them what they are and what to do. Arrogance makes an image of yourself that is not real. It is this image which quails and retreats in terror as the voice of God assures you that you have the strength, the wisdom, and the holiness to go beyond all images. You are not weak, as is the image of yourself. You are not ignorant and helpless. Sin cannot tarnish the truth in you, and misery can come not near the holy home of God. All this the voice of God relates to you, and as he speaks, the image trembles and seeks to attack the thread it does not know, sensing its basis crumble. Let it go. Salvation of the world depends on you and not upon this little pile of dust, your body. Well, it looks like Zorro's decided to come out the window and come out here and see me. Maybe he'll come up to me. My raccoon, that is. Or a raccoon. I don't know if he's mine, but he hangs around me a lot. What can it tell the Holy Son of God? Let's back up. All this the voice for God relates to you, and as he speaks, the image trembles and seeks to attack the thread it does not know, sensing its basis crumble. Let it go. Salvation of the world depends on you and not upon this little pile of dust. What can it tell the Holy Son of God? Why need he be concerned with it at all? And so we find our peace. We will accept the function God has given us. For all illusions rest upon the weird belief that we can make another for ourselves. Our self-made roles are shifting, and they seem to change from mourner to ecstatic bliss of loved and loving. We can laugh or weep or greet the day with welcome or with tears. Our very being seems to change as we experience 1,000 shifts in mood, and our emotions raise us high indeed, or dash us to the ground in hopelessness. Is this the Son of God? Could he create such instability and call it Son? He who is changeless shares his attributes with his creation. All the images his Son appears to make have no effect on what he is. They blow across his mind like windswept leaves that form a pattering an instant, break apart to group again and scamper off, or like images seen above a desert, raising from the dust. These unsubstantial images will go and leave your mind unclouded and serene when you accept the function given you. The images you make give rise to but conflicting goals, impermanent and vague, uncertain and ambiguous. Who could be constant in his efforts or direct his energies and concentrated drive toward goals like these? The function which the world esteems are so uncertain that they change 10 times an hour at their most secure. What hope of gain can rest on goals like this? In lovely contrast, certain as the sun's return each morning to dispel the night, your truly given function stands out clear and wholly unambiguous. There is no doubt of its validity. It comes from one who knows no error, and his voice is certain of its messages. They will not change nor be in conflict. All of them point to one goal, and one you can attain. Your plan may be impossible, but God's never fail because he is its source. But God's can never fail because he is its source. Do as his voice directs, and if it asks a thing of you that seems impossible, remember who it is that asks and who would make denial. Then consider this: which is more likely to be right? The voice that speaks for the Creator of all things, who knows all things exactly as they are? Or a distorted image of yourself, confused, bewildered, inconsistent, and unsure of everything? Let not its voice direct you. Hear instead a certain voice which tells you of a function given you by your Creator, who remembers you and urges that you now remember him. His gentle voice is calling from the known to the unknowing. He would comfort you, although he knows no sorrow. He would make a restitution, though he is complete, a gift to you, although he knows that you have everything already. He has thoughts which answer every need his Son perceives, although he sees them not. For love must give, and what is given in his name takes on the form most useful in a world of form. These are the forms which never can deceive, although they come from formlessness itself. Forgiveness is an earthly form of love, which, as it is in heaven, has no form. Yet what is needed here is given here as it is needed. In this form, you can fulfill your function even here, although what love will mean to you when formlessness has been restored to you is greater still. Salvation of the world depends on you who can forgive. Such is your function here. Let's read that last paragraph once again. Let's just start with forgiveness is an earthly form of love, which, as it is in heaven, has no form. There's no need to forgive in heaven because there's no judgment at all. We just see the love. Yet what is needed here is given here in the earth. What is needed here is given here, as it is needed. In this form, you can fulfill your function even here, although what love will mean to you when formlessness has been restored to you is greater still. Salvation of the world depends on you who can forgive. Such is your function here. Okay, let's go look in our text reading. And remember, today I want to be sure that we do our lesson best we can. Salvation of the world depends on me. Salvation of the world depends on me. And it's because you've learned to practice forgiveness, and you get to spread the love that the world needs so desperately in the form of forgiveness. Okay, we're going to look in chapter 19, Beyond the Body, section 5, the obstacles to peace. So we're going to look at the first obstacle, section A. The first obstacle, the desire to get rid of it. And as you're turning there, let me tell you a little bit about what on earth is going on today. It's Bikini Day, Mechanical Pencil Day, National Apple Turnover Day, National Graham Cracker Day, National Workaholics Day, Work Without Your Hands Day, that's a SpongeBob saying, and Fast of Tammuz. And that's in Judaism, it's the 17th day of the 4th month, which is Tammuz, and it's celebrating or remembering an attack on Jerusalem, where the second temple wall was broken down, and that was in 69 A.D. or C.E. current era. There's a 3-week period that leads up to the Tisha B'Av, which is I don't understand all the history real well there, but the Fast of Tammuz, and it's going to, I'm not sure exactly how it's practiced. I found that on Drexel University. So if you wanted to look at it a little bit more, you might find more there. I'm not sure. I didn't take a lot of time to look for that. What else? It says the Apple Turnover Day. I found this about the Malus domestica, which is our apple. You know what? It got turned. I bet you. I wonder if that raccoon did that. Apple tree companion. If you plant an apple tree, plant these around it. They help the apple. They will help it with deterring pests, enriching the soil by bringing, some of these like comfrey go real deep into the soil and bring minerals up that are not on the surface. They conserve moisture by having a ground covering, and they limit weeds. And I found this on gardenknowhow.com. Comfrey, nasturtium, chamomile, coriander, dill, fennel, basil, lemongrass mint, artemisia, and yarrow. So there's some things that seem to do really good under a an apple tree. And now let's take a look at another onion. And this is called, and this is out of the Gurneys, and it is called, what is it called? The blush hybrid. The blush hybrid, and it's an allium cepa. You don't find this color often. It's kind of like a pinkish blush, especially in storage onions. You don't find this color. Produces 3 to 4 inch globes with light purple, is what they're calling, to pink internal rings. Sweeter and milder than most long-term onions. A long day onion type, it's well suited to northern gardens. Approximately 110 days, excuse me. 110 day onion. So it's a long day type. 110 days is what it takes. All right, so there's your blush hybrid onion. All right, let's go take a look at our reading now. The first obstacle, the desire to get rid of it. The first obstacle that peace must flow across is your desire to get rid of it, for it cannot extend unless you keep it. You are the center from which it radiates outward to call the others in. You are its home, its tranquil dwelling place from which it gently reaches out but never leaving you. If you would make it homeless, how can it abide within the Son of God? If it would spread across the whole creation, it must begin with you, and from you reach to everyone who calls and brings him rest by joining you. 41. Why would you want peace homeless? What do you think that it must dispossess to dwell with you? What seems to be the cost you are so unwilling to pay? The little barrier of sand still stands between you. Would you reinforce it now? You are not asked to let it go for yourself alone. Christ asks it of you for himself. He would bring peace to everyone. And how can he do this except through you? Would you let a little bank of sand, a wall of dust, a tiny seeming barrier stand between your brothers and salvation? And yet it is this little remnant of attack you cherish still against each other that is the first obstacle. This little remnant of attack you cherish still against each other that is the first obstacle that peace in you encounters in its going forth. This little wall of hatred would still oppose the will of God and keep it limited. The Holy Spirit's purpose rests in peace within you, yet you are still unwilling to let it join you wholly. You still oppose the will of God just by a little, and that little is a limit you would place upon the whole. God's will is one, not many. God's will is one, not many. It has no opposition, for there is none beside it. What you would still contain behind your little barrier and keep separate from each other seems mightier than the universe, for it would hold back the universe and its creator. This little wall would hide the purpose of heaven and keep it from heaven. 43. Would you thrust salvation away from the giver of salvation? For such have you become. Peace could no more depart from you than from God. Fear not this little obstacle. It cannot contain the will of God. Peace will flow across it and join you without hindrance. And what is this? Well, let me finish this paragraph. Salvation cannot be withheld from you. It is your purpose. You cannot will apart from this. You have no purpose apart from each other, nor apart from the one who asks the Holy Spirit to share with you. The little wall will fall away so quietly beneath the wings of peace. For peace will send its messengers from you to all the world, and barriers will fall away before their coming as easily as those which you would interpose will be surmounted. So I'm going to continue with paragraph 44, but I want to go back and look at that very first sentence. The first obstacle that peace must flow across is your desire to get rid of it. You know, your beliefs that you have to protect yourself and that you have to defend yourself and that you don't want peace because it's threatening. 44. To overcome to overcome the world is no more difficult than to surmount your little wall. For in the miracle of your relationship without this barrier is every miracle contained. There is no order of difficulty in miracles, for they are all the same. Each is a gentle winning over from the appeal of guilt to the appeal of love. How can this fail to be accomplished whenever it is undertaken? Guilt can raise no barriers against it, and all that seems to stand between you must fall away because of the appeal you answered. For from you who answered, he who answered you would call. His home is your holy relationship. Do not attempt to stand between him and his holy purpose, for it is yours. But let him quietly extend the miracle of your relationship to everyone contained in it, as it was given. 45. There is a hush in heaven, a happy expectancy, a little pause of gladness in acknowledgement of the journey's end. For heaven knows you well, as you know heaven. No illusion stands between you now. Look not upon the little wall of shadows. The sun has risen over it. How can a shadow keep you from the sun? No more can you be kept by shadows from the light in which the illusions end. Every miracle is but the end of all illusions. Uh-oh. Okay, now you're causing trouble, little fella. Okay. Let's get back where we're. The little insane wish to get rid of it. There is a hush in heaven. Start 45. There is a little hush in heaven, a happy expectancy, a little pause of gladness and acknowledgement of the journey's end. For heaven knows you well, as you know heaven. No illusions stand between you now. Look not upon the little walls of shadows. The sun has risen over it. How can a shadow keep you from the sun? No more can you be kept by shadows from the light in which illusions end. No more can you be kept by shadows from the light in which illusions end. Every miracle is but the end of an illusion. Such was the journey, such its ending, and in the goal of truth which we accepted must all illusions end. The little insane wish to get rid of him who you invited in and push him out must produce conflict. As you look upon the world, this little wish uprooted and floating aimlessly can land and settle briefly upon anything, for it has no purpose now. Before the Holy Spirit entered to abide with you, it seemed to have a mighty purpose, the fixed and unchangeable dedication to sin and its results. Now it is aimless, wandering pointlessly, causing no more than tiny interruptions in love's appeal. 47. This feather of a wish, this tiny illusion, this microscopic remnant of the belief in sin, is all that remains of what once seemed to be the world. It is no longer an unrelenting barrier to peace. Its pointless wandering makes its results appear to be more erratic and unpredictable than before. Yet what could be more unstable than a tightly organized delusional system? Its seeming stability is its pervasive weakness, which extends to everything. The variability which the little remnant induces merely indicates its limited results. And the last paragraph, 48. How mighty can a little feather be before the great wings of truth? Can it oppose an eagle's flight or hinder the advance of summer? Can it interfere with the effects of summer's sun upon a garden covered by the snow? See but how easily this little wisp is lifted up and carried away, never to return. and part with it in gladness, not regret. For it is nothing in itself, and stood for nothing when you had greater faith in its protection. Would you not rather greet the summer sun than fix your gaze upon a disappearing snowflake and shiver in remembrance of the winter's cold? Okay, well, let's remember to do our 2 longer extended periods, morning and evening, of our lesson. Salvation of the world depends on me. Salvation of the world depends on me. Salvation depends on me who can forgive. Such is our function here. Salvation of the world depends on me. 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 The salvation of the world depends on you. You who forgive, such is your function here. Salvation of the world depends on you. You can forgive, such is your function here. Salvation of the world depends on us. 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 Salvation of the world depends on me. Salvation of the world depends on me. Well, thank you all so much for joining me out here studying Salvation of the World Depends on Me. It depends on us because we've learned how to forgive. We can spread the love because we're not stopping love from flowing through us and to everyone. We see the peace in our brothers and sisters. Salvation of the world depends on me.